Well, Super Fat says there's some groundbreaking PvP changes, and I just think it's because he probably walked on the ground and probably broke the ground because he's 750 pounds with his bald head reflecting the sunlight off, blinding everybody in his path. But we'll see what he has to say. Can you hear me? Can you peziantes hear the maestro? Alright, 9.2 PvP changes. Big damn judge.
Good morning, good afternoon.
No.
Thank you for tuning in to another Super Tease video, and our wishes have been granted. There are
I've been watching the Taken movies. Anybody watch those? Those are good.
finally additional PvP changes coming
Are there
for
though,
patch
Super Fat?
9.2.
Are there?
I saw people memeing on Twitter about really Deathbolt's going to be the only PvP change coming through in this patch.
Yeah, that should never do any
With
damage.
Holy Priest, it's not really relevant coming through specifically, but now we have a much longer list of basically all nerfs in PvP.
Good.
And these nerfs are aimed at healing.
As long as it's not for Paladin.
Harkening back to the feedback that we saw them want to iterate on, which is making the game more lethal. I think that this does have a good opportunity to bring a game to a better position. I would like the game to be, you know, something
Dude, I was
closer to
doing
the middle
some world PvP, and I was facing a backpedaling Volpira bald vermin, and I literally couldn't get him past 90% health. And then whenever he wanted to, he could just vanish away and open on me again. Broken class.
0.4 seconds to a burst cooldown or going to 80% dampening. These healing spells are definitely attributing to the significant length of game matches, and perhaps now with these round of changes and maybe even additional ones in the future, the damage of offensive cooldowns can go down along with them, so we can have a more standard length of game match that isn't just focused on one-shots, but also isn't focused on healing.
This isn't even enough.
Till the deepest
Alright, you can see this isn't even enough. Flashcraft absorb value is now 25% of maximum health instead of 30. I'm sure that 5% is really going to be the deciding factor between a 15-minute game and a 5-minute game, Super Fat. Yeah, Jesus Christ, man. This is lit, dude. This should be reduced by 100%. Fleshcraft should be reduced by 250%. Spell Warding, you can't kill a Death Knight no matter what, so it doesn't even matter if this is reduced. Frenzied Regen, you're never going to be able to kill a Druid no matter what. It's still going to heal you to full. So it's going to do another... Frenzied Regen healing now is reduced by 37.5%, was 15%. So instead it's going to do 15% less. Nobody cares. It still literally heals you to full health every single time you press it, so it doesn't matter. Reverse Harm now increases healing done by expel harm by 60%, was 100. Dude, so instead of healing you for like 25%, it's going to heal you for 15%. It doesn't matter at all. This is not even, like, dude. Blizzard is so delusional beyond life itself. They're run by the Chinese Communist Party. They're delusional, brain-dead hack scum. Literally should be put in prison for the rest of their worthless life and should suck the juice from a rotten communist potato.
But this is definitely changes iterated on feedback that I've seen from a lot of top-level PvPers. It doesn't make sense to me, but we'll talk through them and make sure that they all do make the most amount of sense.
Come on, Super Fat, get to the video.
Some classes really hard. You may even reconsider what you were going to play with how hard that they've been nerfed, but we'll just talk about them straight off the run here. Necro Lord, your Fleshcraft absorb value is now 25% of your max health in PvP combat.
Doesn't matter at all.
30%, so a 5% nerf.
Still so good.
Necro Lord Covenant that a lot of specs were starting to roll over to.
Of course, and nerfs it right after the Maestro has to go Necro Lord. Not surprised.
Having that big shield to just allow you to survive through a first round of cooldowns. It's going to be 5% weaker. I don't think that this is the biggest deal of the rodeo that we are about to go through.
Oh,
the next one is the Spell Warden PvP talent, RIP DKs. Now applies Rune of Spell Warding with a 50% increased effect, was 100%. To be fair,
but you can't kill DKs anyway.
In the most competitive position, I think this talent specifically was overtuned for magic damage to the point where you almost were just completely immune to it. Death Knight may still stand a good shot here in 9.2 with how much damage it's going to be getting, and more specifically what's happening to other specs in the game and their healing and durability. So while this may on the front seem like, oh no, DK just got leveled, in the one thing
already broken.
Particularly shining at, I think it's a change that makes more sense to balance them in that specific scenario, so they're not just invincible to magic.
A DK literally killed me through Blessing of Protection at full health while I was healing myself.
Damage, and then these other nerfs are going to put them on a more competitive playing field because the things that would otherwise be better than them are more or less going to be almost equal. The next big nerf was towards Druids, with Frenzied Regeneration healing being reduced by 37.5%.
You should never have Frenzied Regen in the first place, and you especially shouldn't have Frenzied Regen while you're stunned.
PvP, it was previously reduced by 15, so another 17.5%.
Oh, really?
Regeneration. This is almost negating the conduit that they have that increases the healing of Frenzied Regeneration, so it'll be interesting to see if Druids are just going to go down now,
no.
Especially the auto Frenzied Regen from conduit. I think a lot of players would agree that that was a frustrating mechanic to engage with.
Yep,
so
you could not kill a Druid.
That Druids are going to have to be a lot more careful.
No, they don't. They have a 1-minute bark skin. They still have the Frenzied Regeneration. They still have the other Frenzied Regeneration. They still have literally unkillable. They can get kicked and cast, run into bear form, and do absolutely nothing. They're still the best healer to ever exist.
Positioning, they're not going to just be able to rely on that. It almost automated as an auto bubble from Legion for how powerful it was to save you. So Feral Druids, Balanced Druids, and Resto Druids are going to get hit by this Frenzied Regeneration nerf. Do remember Resto is getting a ton of healing buffs, so Resto is probably still going to be fine even with this. Feral likely still fine with the ability to instant regrowth. Probably Balanced Druid going to be getting hit the hardest. And then Windwalker, this is the one that I wasn't sure made the most sense in terms of targeting the healing, but still I'm glad that they are targeting the healing spells. Reverse Harm PvP talent.
I want to be on a beach.
It has the power.
Now increases the healing by your expel harm by 60%, was 100%, so it's getting reduced by 40%. I wasn't particularly worried about Windwalker's healing right now in PvP.
How about their
I'm
damage?
worried about the spinning crane kicks.
Yeah. How about they kill you in 0.1 second instantaneously?
But still, this is a good direction to try and get PvP in a position
the brain
where
damage,
it's not going to 80% dampening.
Hopefully they nerf Ret Pals into the
See
ground.
how it plays out. Start looking at
nerf Wog healing, not on H-Pals.
Windows and bring the damage down along with it to get the game to a more midpoint, which has been the main point of feedback that I've seen from almost everybody unanimously, is to try and get a more balanced ground. Now when we scroll down, there's even more nerfs. We can see Retribution Paladin, Word of Glory healing reduced by 30% in PvP combat, was 20. Wouldn't have mind seeing this attached to Prod
50,
as well, honestly.
90.
10% is not that big.
Yeah.
See, when I was looking at in between these, between Monk and Ret, I was thinking like Ret healing is a lot more.
How stupid are they? One wad puts you to full health as a Ret Pally while you're getting one shot the entire time. Why don't I play Ret Pally? Because I'm not a copycat piglet, that's why.
But Windwalker got nerfed way harder than Ret, so this is where that didn't really make a lot of sense to me.
It never makes any sense.
I was surprised to not see any changes specifically to proc wings from Ret Paladin, especially their interactions with classes like Demon Hunter's Eye Beam, where they're critting every tick and it's proccing their wings almost immediately. Seems like that mechanic is amplifying Ret damage to an extraordinarily powerful level. So I was a bit surprised to not see that targeted, but again, these all seem to be very focused on hybrid healing and getting the game to a more lethal place, which I think we would all rather be more lethal than not lethal at all. I at least preferring Shadowlands over BFA at this point.
No.
I would like it to get to a more middle ground.
Shadowlands is so much worse, it's not even close.
Need to go down before we can then maybe tune up the damage or tune down the damage to get it to that point. Rogue.
This needs to be nerfed way even more. Rogue should never be able to go into a Vanish and stay in a Vanish. Disgusting. This thing is the most broken thing in life.
So getting their Cloaked in Shadows Conduit, absorb value,
it should be
reduced
completely
by 33%
removed from the game.
PvP. This is the shield you get when you go into stealth.
Yeah.
Another pretty frustrating mechanic when you just see a rogue running away with a full row of dots and they disappear behind the pillar and you never see them again even though they were fully dotted.
Disgusting.
Maybe this nerf will bring it to the point where they'll actually get pulled out of stealth when they're dotted, which is what I would really like for the
That should always happen.
Because to me it's always been as a rogue is trying to make sure that you're clean of debuffs before you go for a re-stealth, and if you don't, then you're punished for that, and this conduit completely removes that mechanical play.
Disgusting,
so this nerf to it may allow that. Again, 33%, is it going to be enough? We'll kind of have to wait and see.
Dude, these nerfs are barely even
remember,
nerfs,
Enhancement Shaman is getting mana cost reductions on all of their spells.
Oh
so you're
my
going to be able to put
God.
a lot more healing. And you're only getting a 9%
That's
additional
nothing.
nerf to your healing.
If you get a healing surge off, you're literally full health. 9%, dude. These things need to be cut in by 150%. If you get one healing surge off in combat, the mini-mice goes from completely dormant to a completely erect.
Surge, it was already nerfed by 20% in PvP, so 29% healing surge nerfed to enhance. Still, again, falling in line. These hybrid healing effects that were very difficult to kill through. And the final change, which...
Oh, this is actually good. This is actually a nerf. This is actually a nerf. Finally, Blizzard did something useful. Defensive stance now reduces damage taken by 10%. Now you can maybe kill Warrior. Still probably not because the most broken class.
The only coffin for Warrior is that defensive stance is now only 10%.
That's a big nerf.
Reduced damage.
That's a big nerf.
That might be even so high that Warriors now no longer take defensive stance.
Yeah.
Only 10%? There's lots of times where I'm dying to a rogue mage through a pre-fade on my priest, which is around 10% damage reduction. So if you're only at 10% damage reduction, you may not be sitting in D-stance.
What other thing do you even take, though?
Removed Warrior.
No. You're still going to take D-stance, probably.
From the table of PvP. You're still going to bring tools like Intervene, but those were amplified by being so tanky with defensive stance yourself to redirect that damage. So Warrior
still does unhealable damage.
Got hit the hardest on this nerf overall.
Because Blizzard is so dumb. They nerf Repelli's thing by 10% or whatever when it needs to be nerfed by 150%, and then they actually just can remove Warrior from the game because of the most broken class too. But it doesn't matter. Warrior does Colossal Smash, Mortal Strike, and hit you for 450k. It doesn't matter. They don't have 10% more damage reduction. Still the most broken class.
In my mind,
the games go so fast when the Shaman runs Earth Alley and they're running at you. You just take the most unhealable damage.
How this is going to roll out? Although I do like the direction of these changes, and this could completely mix things up, as I was saying for Death Knight.
If they put me in charge of things for literally less than one day, I would fix everything so fast. It would be the most obvious. It is the most obvious thing. Don't let priests have a talent called Holy Ward that makes them immune to all CC. Oh, how about you don't give priests a fade that every 45 seconds where they're immune to damage? How about you don't give them a thing where they can res in combat? How about that? How about you don't make it so Druids can get kicked and go into bear form and get into full health and sit and backpedal the entire time like a fat slobbering moron?
Having more viability because Warrior is getting put in this spot. It's like you gotta wait and see what happens really, because it's like, is DK going to be bad? Because Warrior looks like it's going to be made out of paper potentially in the future. All the healing on these other hybrids is going down, and now Death Knight's not going to be immune to magic damage, so it kind of makes sense. But this could put the game in a completely different place. These changes came out of nowhere really here in the last second. Everybody was memeing thinking it wasn't going to happen, but here they are. They've arrived. What do you think in the comments down below? Let me know.
So at least other classes are getting slightly worse, even though they don't. These are not even nerfs. Most of them. The biggest nerf is the rogue one. That could potentially actually break you from stealth, maybe, if you have like a lot of dots on you. Otherwise, the other ones barely were even nerfs. Like, ugh. But anyway, check out the Maestro merch in the description. Like always, Big Damn Judge hoodie, unstoppable heroism, absolute majestic intuitions. And guess what? The Maestro will never give up. Like, share, and don't irk off to the Maestro's video unless you're a hot girl. Big Damn.